National COVID-19 Vaccination Days launched to reduce skepticism and to achieve 20 million fully vaccinated target by mid-2022.
An appeal from farmers in Boko West to governments to desilt a drying dam in the area.
Universities to be shut down by Friday, March 4, 2022 if UTAG fails to call off its strike.
An Ethiopian Airlines employees fleeing conflicts by hiding in airplane ceilings. Good evening and welcome to Monday's edition of News Hour at 7. We are live on GTV, GBC News and DSTV on channel 278. My name is Clara Mlanu.
I am Rahmatu Mahmoud Jawando, and we have Robert Fripo-Mansu to do the sign language for us.
Now the news in details. The Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service have officially launched the National COVID-19 Vaccination Days in Accra. This is a campaign towards herd immunity and to ensure that all are safe.
Officials say the campaign is critical to reducing hesitancy and to achieve the initial target of fully vaccinating 20 million persons by mid-2022. The vaccination days begin from Wednesday 2nd to Sunday 6th February 2022 and will continue thereafter with a target dose of 2.5 million in 5 days.
On the Ghana Health Service statistics dated 31st January 2022, Ghana has recorded 150 new cases of the coronavirus, 1,901 active cases, with 1,393 deaths, making Ghana's confirmed cases now 156,805. Due to these statistics, the director of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaji, says even though Ghana's new case count is dropping, the country is not out of the woods yet, and for which reason the launch of the National COVID-19 Vaccinations Days campaign. He said intensive and coordinated radio and TV programs, airing of COVID-19 songs and jingles, advocacy and outreach programs will drum home the need for the participation of the vaccination exercise. The Deputy Minister for Health, Madam Tina Mensah, urged all to get vaccinated to achieve herd immunity and also because no one is safe until everyone is safe.
Currently, Ghana is rolling out vaccination exercises among the general public and by the National Immunization Technical Group recommendation, the vaccination exercise has been expanded to include persons from 15 years and above, as well as pregnant women, as said here. Furthermore, the country, with the support from partners, have expanded cold chain facilities to ensure that these vaccines are safely kept, including support on ultra-negative freezers to store Pfizer vaccines.
Presenting the rollout plan for the campaign, the program manager of the EPI, Dr. Kwame Aponsa Achiano, said only 3.7 million persons are partially vaccinated, with 13.2 million persons still unvaccinated. Therefore, 2.5 million doses in 5 days is the target. A musician and COVID-19 survivor, Mr. Edward Nana Pokwose, popularly known in showbiz circles as Hammer, shared his story.
I noticed that the vaccine wasn't going to prevent me from catching COVID, but it was going to stop me from getting severely sick. And if I had taken the vaccine, I would have gone through some fever and just gone home. But I have suffered, and trust me, it baffles me when I hear people, the doubters, trying to say there's no COVID.
An official COVID-19 song recorded and performed by Celestine Donko was launched.
Keep washing your hands and wear your mask. Corona nil.
The National COVID-19 Vaccination Days campaign has the theme Protect Yourself, Protect Your Family. Get vaccination against COVID-19. For GBC News, Yaira Lawe reporting.
Friday, March 4, 2022 will be the cutoff point for public universities in the country to shut down if the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, does not call off its strike. The rules governing public universities state that institutions are to close down after 21 days of non-academic activity. However, UTAG says discussions have hit a snag. This follows several appeals by the Vice-Chancellors of Ghana and the Minister for Education for UTAG to return to the lecture halls while negotiations continue. The President of the University of Ghana chapter of UTAG, Dr. Samuel Nkuban, tells GBC News about the implication of a shutdown of universities across the country.
I must say that we are at a standstill at the moment, except, of course, that Vice-Chancellors Ghana met UTAG, at which, of course, the appeal was for UTAG to reconsider its position while they try to kind of intervene or to mediate between UTAG and government to see how these issues are resolved amicably. Similarly, the Minister of Education, who happens to be our sector minister, also invited UTAG, and it was the same kind of conversation in terms of appealing to UTAG to return, whilst they also take steps to engage the side of government on how we could possibly resolve these issues. And since then, nothing new has happened.
What is UTAG's response to the Vice-Chancellors of Ghana and the Minister of Education for the members to return to the classrooms while negotiations go on?
For us, I think we've gotten to the point where those kinds of verbal assurances or signing even MOAs no longer appeal to us, except, of course, that our demands have been very clearly stated, and we expect that government would respond favorably, that we are able to meet you with this demand at this point, and then we can consider what government is offering. But as of now, there is nothing on the table to be considered by UTAG. Well, most likely because if between today and Thursday, when we are going to court, nothing happens, impliedly Friday is just around the corner, but that is certainly not a decision for UTAG to take. It is for management of the various institutions to take. But of course, it's an unwritten rule that after 21 days without serious activity, then of course students may have to be asked out of the institution.
Meanwhile, a research analyst with EduWatch, Mr. Divine Bay, also tells GBC News that the government has not demonstrated enough commitment towards resolving the impasse to enable the lecturers to return to the halls.
I'm worried about the posture of government in all this issue. The picture is painting, or the reality is that government is not committed to meeting the demand or even meeting UTAG halfway on their demand. And when I say government, I'm not talking about the current government alone. I'm talking about successive governments, because this is an issue that has been hanging since 2008. So for me, government has not demonstrated enough commitment to meet the teacher union, the university teacher union, halfway even. And that is the point that we should be worried about.
How about UTAG and their stance? What do you think of the stance they've taken, deciding not to back down at all?
As much as we worried about the fact that teaching and learning has been affected in the tertiary institutions and the students are the ultimate losers, and we as advocates for quality education would have wished that school is ongoing. But the fact is, if you force teachers into the classroom without dealing with their situation, condition of service, it can also be counterproductive. So we won't force UTAG again to they should go to the classroom and then just compromise with government. We are equally worried about condition of teachers, because they need to have the best conditions to give out their best to their students. We empathize with the students, but we also want to understand the position of UTAG this time as well.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, on Monday gave out 100 buses and 50 pickup vehicles to some selected senior high schools in the country. The vehicles are to support teaching and learning in the beneficiary schools. Dr. Bawumia said government's transformation agenda for the education sector is holistic, and all resources will be provided to ensure academic excellence.
This distribution of 100 buses and 50 pickups follows a similar give-out in 2020, where 120 buses were delivered to senior high schools and agencies under the Ministry of Education. In May the same year, 49 buses were delivered to support academic work in the respective schools. The 100 buses are for schools that did not get theirs in 2020, while the 50 pickups are to support administrative work in the beneficiary schools. The 100 buses will help with the transportation deficit and support field work in various schools. It's believed these will help improve students' safety as well as teaching and learning. The headmistress of the Mamfi Girls Senior High School, Ms. Winifred Arthur, said this donation is timely and will support the beneficiaries' second cycle schools.
For this gesture, on behalf of all headmasters and mistresses of this country, especially the beneficiary schools, we pledge our unflinching support for the free SHS specifically and the improvement of education in Ghana as a whole.
The Minister for Education, Dr. Yao Educhum, said these are measures to improve education transformation being pursued by the government.
So this is our time. This is our moment to bring about transformation and to ensure that we can catch up with the developed nations. But the caveat to the results of the study was that countries that will catch up are the ones who will leapfrog inequality. So when you see these things, there's an opportunity to leapfrog, to give our schools what we've never had for many, many years, so that together, when we put our minds to it, reform the education space, we will surely catch up with the rest of the world. And it will never be only Singapore, but it will also be Ghana.
The Vice President, Dr. Baumia, said the President is on course with the free SHS program and will provide the schools with the resources they need.
The handover of buses today is part of the efforts to increase access to quality education anchored on a robust education system that trains a critical mass of students empowered to be active participants in our country's transformation.
Dr. Yao Educhum says senior high schools that have not yet received any vehicles will get theirs in the first quarter of the year.
Government officials continue engagement on the electronic transaction levy with hopes of getting the general public to better understand the rationale for its proposal. On GTV's Breakfast Show on Monday, Deputy Majority Leader Mr. Alexander Afenyo-Markin insisted that the biggest pushback from the public stems from fear that the funds may not be properly accounted for, as has been the case with some levies in the past. The Member of Parliament for Ifutu also allayed fears that the e-levy is going to collapse the mobile money business.
We are in charge of government business, and it's also our duty to ensure that we get this done. We've been engaging each other. At least we now know that e-levy is no more 1.75. It is 1.5. We also know that government negotiated with the telcos, and the telcos have brought it down by 0.25. So all put together, and in real terms, we are now going to pay 1.25. The net effect is that what government is going to take, or what Ghanaians are going to pay, will be 1.25.
Which is 0.50 less than what you suggested.
No, more than that. Because we said 1.75. And they were already paying 1%, 1%, 2%. So it was going to be 3.75. What I'm saying now is that government has come down to 1.5.
And the telcos are down as well.
The telcos have also come down by 0.25. So put together, you are talking about how much you are spending. So I'm saying that in real terms, we are going to pay 1.25 levy. That's the point I want to put across. All right. these have come as a result of all the debates and the fact that government was listening. Okay? It tells you that government would not just shut its door and say that I don't care. But we still have to talk. After all, this is democracy. We still have to talk. So that is why we are talking. And that is why I'm optimistic that if we get to a certain point, the levy would have to pass. Our friends have indicated that they are not ready to share political risk. And I agree. Fine. We should take political responsibility. We will take that political responsibility. However, the game changer would be our ability to demonstrate to Ghanaians that, look, we didn't take the money for the sake of taking it. We didn't abuse it. But whatever we got, this is it. We show.
And still on the e-levy, there are mixed feelings to the passage of the proposed e-levy introduced by the government in the 2022 budget. However, majority of the people who spoke with GBC News at Kumasi in the Ashanti region are asking the government to intensify public education on the advantages of the levy. Others also called for a review of the proposed levy, especially in the hard times of COVID-19.
Taxing, for as long as I know, every nation, I think, will have to tax its citizens to be able to survive and to be able to do development for the citizenry. And when we travel outside, to go to other countries, we know that they tax for them to be self-sufficient so that they can take care of themselves. Ghana, as I know, we are kind of hand to mouth. Whatever we generate, we almost spend all. So I think it's another good means of trying to generate more money so that all the infrastructure that we're looking for, the roads, the schools and hospitals that we are looking for, we could be able to get money internally.
I think Ghana, we are struggling as a country, and charging us additional amount on the mobile transactions, I think is preposterous. It's very bad. And so the government should reconsider and do away completely with the e-levy, because Ghana, we are not strong enough as a country, and even the salaries people receive is very, very, very down below the ladder. And so when we are charged additional cost on electronic transactions, I think it will be something that will not help us at all.
Mobile money needs to see a tax that me send this Accra, me send it 200 cedis, I tell me 2 cedis. And you see a sandy be a mobile account. And to me, no margin and chemistry, the Debana, the Moye. Tibia no de yen free okra na de ye ti ho kakra no ye nya ne kakra nta
e to de o man no service ye tenase ne ka se ji to de ayo man na sebi obi anya Father Christmas ono ade ne botom sika ebe ye o man no nanka ne papa mu de nkeye na nso so ye hwe de eko like obetu ato no but mfaso bi ani ho a obinya no so so my papa no betu ato no faso bia no tikete na nka sebi ye de ye ama o man no sebi yaye amana ye kama de a fine nkeye na nso so ye no ye nyina ani ehunu bi at my age ye hunu bi since then no ye hunu faso bia.
I think that there has to be a lot of stakeholder consultation, because many citizens do not understand what the e-levy is all about. And then also there are a lot of literate and then illiterates in the system. So government will have to do a lot of consultation before coming to the implementation of the e-levy. My understanding is that even a lot of the tokens do not even know how they are even going to implement this e-levy.
Yeah, ebeboa omaino, ama obani mpuntu akoso. Because of say yo kroma, ni padodo na ni ntua tax. Majority of any pay tax eketuwe. Me kwa metio me medwuma me ntua tax. Me ntua tax. Saban no ehu kwan pa obefa so na waje to amem omani mpuntu akon kan dia momien support said be ya Ghana ya kwan ne ye mantem niam ato sin na ban bitimi aboa.
In the Yukurugu community in the Boku West district of the Upper East region, farmers are appealing to government to urgently desilt a dam in the area to enable them engage in dry season gardening. Currently, almost all farmers are losing their crops due to the drying up of the dam. The drying up of the Yukurugu dam has also affected aquatic life. The farmers are also worried over the recent hikes in prices of farm inputs.
About 80% of the people in the Boku West district and the Upper East region engage in farming. In the face of climate change and drought, dry season farming was not just an option, but a necessity if the fortunes of northern Ghana were to change. Hence, the call to improve on agricultural water management to enable dry season farming in the zone and thus support a second cropping beyond the single cropping per year that is currently being practiced. They hope interventions include expansion of irrigation schemes to make them more accessible to a larger number of people and strengthen other smallholder irrigation practices that are individually or communally driven. Almost all the over 1,000 dry season farmers in the Yukurugu community have no option than to leave their vegetables to its fate due to the lack of water in the dam. The farmers here produce cabbage, onion, pepper, and tomato. The Yukurugu Dam, which was constructed under former President Kufuor's administration, has not been desilted or undergone any rehabilitation. When GBC News visited the area, some of the farmers were constructing wells. Mr. Hakim Yakubu and Alhaji Yakubu Mahamadu spoke with GBC News.
Mambo idea ya hobe chire pa ese yentu sene mukune gene bibia cabbage no bibria akaho mbo akura mo nyen so no manu mbie bakwe bo men ka tire bi te kwele wa garma mo ata banga bana do so se akete pamko.
A regent of Yukurugu, Mr. Joseph Akumbuni, expressed worry over the drying up of the dam.
Every year we are doing the farming, but when we get into 2 months the water will dry and leave us. Every year we are suffering, but especially this year, it's too much. Look at the month, it's yet January, but as we are here, there's no water. The way we spend our resources, we can't get it.
Mr. Abdullahi Imoro was equally worried about the situation. A tomato and onion farmer, Madame Memunetu Yakubu, said aside the challenges they face due to the drying up of the dam, the recent hikes in prices of farming inputs are negatively affecting them. GBC News conducted a brief market survey on the prices of fertilizers in the region. It confirmed that a bag of 50 kg Yara fertilizer, a popular brand among farmers, cost between 360 Ghana cedis and 400 Ghana cedis in the region. For farmers, this means they have to raise huge amounts of money in capital for their business. Farmers in the region say the surest way to reduce the high level of migration among the youth to the south in search of non-existent jobs is to provide residents in the area with irrigable dams and subsidized farm inputs in the rainy and dry seasons. For GBC News, Samuel Ayama, Yukurugu.
Work has begun on the construction of a retaining wall around the dangerously exposed power transmission pylon at Bokrom Estate in Kumasi, even though the management of the electricity company and Volta River Authority insists the project was awarded on contract late last year to address the problem. Some residents of Bokrom Estate believe it is a swift response to a recent video of commentary highlighting the danger posed by the situation, which is circulating on social media.
For some weeks now, a video with commentary in Twi has been circulating on various social media platforms, drawing attention to the perceived danger posed by power transmission pylon or high-tension cables located near a transformer at the outskirts of the airport estates, commonly called Buokrom Estate, in the Menchia North sub-metro of the Kumasi metropolis. In the video, it is clear that the concrete base of the high-tension pylon has been eroded by flood waters and water from a nearby stream. GBC News caught up with the originator of the viral video, Isaac Fosuhene, who explained that he did the video with other concerned residents of the locality to draw the attention of the authorities to the danger posed by the situation.
As we are about, we are being found in the other. Dan say, you be busy, not yes, it none more. Now, why, no, oh, we send our condolence for this impossible. Human lives, and I say, so, and then I'm sure my mayor's island.
Following the viral video, the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, issued a press statement confirming the situation but rejecting the impression created by the commentator in the video that the state of the high-tension pylon posed danger to people living around it. The statement nonetheless assured the public that steps would be taken to correct the problem. On Sunday, 28th January 2022, when GBC News visited the location of the said high-tension pylon, a contractor had mobilized at the site and work was going on. The contractor, Mr. Emmanuel Wiafe, told GBC News that the project was supposed to have been undertaken in September last year, but the intensity of the rains compelled the authorities to reschedule it to the dry season.
You see, I said, the retaining wall. Now I brought down over and said,
Mr. Wiafi gave the assurance that power supply to the beneficiary communities would not be interrupted during the period of the project. The assembly member for the Buokrom Estate electoral area, Mr. Kwame Ajamai, commended UCG and the VRA for giving the problem an urgent attention. He also thanked the authorities for dredging the heavily silted stream nearby, which floods the main road each time it rains, and for clearing the bush in the area, which has become a den for criminals who have been attacking passers-by in the night. The originator of the viral video, Mr. Isaac Fosuhene, was also happy his social media initiative had yielded results.
The Kaneshi court has adjourned the case in which one Richard Appiah is suspected to have murdered 2 children in Abisim in the Bono region to February 18, 2022. The adjournment became necessary after the court was informed that the magistrate handling the case, Madam Amma Adomako Kwache, is still on her annual leave. This is the 6th time the case has been adjourned.
At the last sitting, the prosecution informed the court that they were awaiting the post-mortem examination reports on the remains of the deceased. Chief Inspector Lawrence Anane told the Carnation District Court that autopsy on the 2 victims had been carried out and that the results would be made available to the court. The suspect, Richard Appiah, 28, has already been in court twice after his arrest in connection with the murder. The prosecutor says at the last hearing, they were waiting for the full examination report from the medical officer to enable them to forward the duplicate docket to the Attorney General's office for advice. For this reason, the prosecutor prayed the court for a short adjournment to enable them to wrap up their report. Richard Appiah is allegedly to have murdered the young boys and kept some of their body parts in a fridge in his house. The charges and the facts were read to him in open court on August 26th, when he first appeared. His plea was not taken.
The Ghana Mine Workers Union is calling for an intensive and sustained education on safety for communities in and around mining enclaves. The union, led by its General Secretary on a tour of the affected communities, said safety consciousness among the people is critical for them to take precautionary measures against avoidable accidents.
A Piatti disaster which led to the loss of lives and the destruction of the community has brought in its wake the importance of safety education, particularly for people living in and around communities with extractive industries. The usage of hazardous materials and explosives, which are key in the operations of such companies, expose residents to risks when there are no effective safety measures in place. The Ghana Mine Workers Union is urging mining companies and their service providers to extend intensive and sustain the safety education in their host communities.
We believe that all the relevant institutions, more particularly the Inspectorate Division of the Minerals Commission, must up its game. We expect that they should extend their services not just to the communities in and around these mining companies. At least if communities had basic training in health and safety, we are pretty confident that no such incident, even if it happened at all, would register such colossal impact that we saw.
The General Secretary of the Union, Mr. Abdul Mumin Bana, on behalf of the Union, presented 40,000 Ghana cedis for the purchase of 800 bags of cement to the displaced persons at Apiati and their contribution to the rebuilding efforts. The Ghana Manganese Company, GMC, also presented relief items as well as medical supplies and building materials worth 80,000 Ghana cedis to support the disaster victims. The Social Responsibility and External Relations Manager of GMPC is Mr. Wisdom Ajay Mensah.
It's an unfortunate incident and people are displaced, people are injured, some have lost their loved ones, and items are scattered, and to try to stabilize these people, emotionally, for them to, it's not easy. So it's something that no mining company would wish that it happens. And I believe that going forward, effort to be put in place to ensure that whatever the case may be, we carry our work safely so that communities don't get injured.
The MCE for Pristia Hwini Valley Municipality, Mr. Isaac Dasmani, commended donors for their gesture.
You're watching News Hour live on GTV and GBC News. There's business, sports, entertainment. After this break, do stay.
Joe, where are you? Timmy, where is Daddy?
I don't know.
Joe!
all other services linked to your SIM card if you don't.
To register, dial *404# and follow the prompts. You will be required to send the following details on your Ghana card. Ghana card number, surname, first name, date of birth, and sex.
You will then receive a special code which you will present to your nearest service provider agent or customer care center for your biometric details to be captured. Remember to add your digital address.
Dial *404# on your phone to start registering your SIM card today.
For more information, contact your service provider on 100 or the National Communications Authority on toll-free number 0800 110622. Register your SIM card to stay connected.
High sense phone, OBRC, smartphones are stylish, camera no resolution, high, long.
Good evening and good to have you join us for the business segment of news, proudly brought to you by MTN and Whirlpool. I am Dorothy Ajimai. With inflation headwinds above the Bank of Ghana's target of 8 plus or minus, coupled with rising crude oil prices and its knock-on effect on transportation in the country, the Monetary Policy Committee has maintained the policy rate at 14.5%. On fiscal policy and debt sustainability, the central bank, the MPC, was upbeat that the 20% cut in expenditure in the 2022 budget will help provide for some correction, including avoiding macroeconomic imbalances and deepening the fiscal consolidation. The total public debt stock in November 2021 stood at 344.5 billion cedis, which is 78.4% of GDP. gross international reserves as at December 2021 was $9.7 billion as against $6.6 billion of 4 months import cover in December 2020. The strong reserve position provided buffer for the cedi, which lost in value against the dollar by 4.1% and 3.1% against the pound sterling. On the outlook, the business sentiments among industry players are bullish and almost near the pre-pandemic levels, and private sector credit growth steadily picking up but remains negative in real terms. Petroleum prices are expected to increase at various pumps across the country in the first pricing window for February. According to the Institute for Energy Security, the impending price increases could see all major oil marketing companies crossing the 7 Ghana cedis per litre mark for gas, oil and gasoline.
The Institute for Energy Security says the impending increases are the result of an upsurge in the price of crude oil on the international market. The forthcoming increase is expected in spite of the suspension of the price stabilization and recovery levy. The increases also come on the back of an 8.52% increase in the price of Brent crude, a 5.5% rise in LPG price, a 6.23% increase in price of gasoline, and 9.86% jump in gasoline price, all on the international oil and fuel markets. The institute said further depreciation of the Ghana cedi against the US dollar on the foreign exchange market adds on to the factors that will push up the prices of the commodities on the local market. During the last pricing window 2 weeks ago, some OMCs sold a litre of fuel at the 7 Ghana cedis mark for the first time across the country, although most of them stayed below the mark. Currently, the national average price for petrol is pegged at 6.90 Ghana cedis per litre, while that of diesel stands at 6.98 Ghana cedis per litre.
The Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, says a consultant has been hired to work out the modalities for a Ghana Traders Bank to be established and operated by GUTA. The specialized bank will deal with the difficult challenge of high interest rates that most Ghanaian entrepreneurs face. Speaking to GBC News, the Greater Accra president of GUTA, Mr. Kwabena Pepra, clarified the bank would become operational before the end of this year.
Ghana's informal sector forms about 90% of the country's employment chain. Unfortunately, majority of these entrepreneurs or business people have difficulty accessing credit from financial institutions. This is what makes it necessary for a special traders bank to be established. Last year, the national president of GUTA hinted that the association, together with the Ministry of Trade, the Bank of Ghana, and other stakeholders were in talks to establish the Ghana Traders Bank. According to the Greater Accra president of GTA, Mr. Kwabena Pepra, who is also a national executive member of the association, said plans are far advanced for the establishment of the bank. He says a consultant has been hired to work on the modalities for the project, which should be delivered before the end of the year.
We have employed a consultant. We are working with him. We have reached some stages. We hope that we will conclude everything, and then maybe by next year we will see the bank running.
Meanwhile, GUTA, in partnership with LCB Worldwide, has taken its nationwide market fumigation to Cape Coast, fumigating all major markets in the Cape Coast municipality. Already, some markets in the Greater Accra region and Corvid have benefited from the exercise. The Central Regional Chairman of GUTA said the fumigation will help protect traders from the COVID-19.
You're still watching the business segment of News Hour. The Ghana Enterprises Agency, GEA, has started disbursing the third phase of the COVID-19 response grant here in Accra. 7 million Ghana cedis will be received by over 70 beneficiaries who qualified out of the 21,000 applicants. The COVID-19 response grant was set up by the government and the World Bank to support small and medium enterprises to recover from the effects of the COVID-19 and to give a new lease of life to the operations. Grant, which is 145 million cedis, is under the Ghana Economic Transformation Project, with focus on agro-processing, manufacturing, textiles and garments, food and beverages, pharmaceuticals and companies into the production of PPE. The grant is solely for SMEs that have been impacted negatively by the pandemic. Beneficiaries would be monitored and audited to ensure that the funds serve the intended purpose. High on the condition of the grant is to ensure that beneficiaries employ more people to reduce unemployment in the country. The grant is expected to be used to support activities such as the purchase of raw materials and equipment, and not to pay salaries. At the third signing ceremony of the grant agreement with beneficiaries, the COVID-19 Response Grant Committee chairperson, Mr. Isaac Hagan, urged the beneficiaries to make good the funds received by putting in place productive managerial structure. The Chief Executive, Ghana Enterprises Agency, Mrs. Kosi Yankee, said given the rigorous nature of the selection process, the private sector must lead in the job creation.
In total, for this COVID response grant, we've been doing various programs over the past year, and 373 businesses have benefited. Actually, over the past 4 years, we've increased access to finance from, let's say, $600,000 from Ghana Enterprises Agency to close to $160 million. So there are various interventions that we've brought out, and we want to bring about more.
A beneficiary, Reverend Regina Filson, said the fund will impact positively on her business.
I have been in agro-food processing for the past 20 years, but this is the only time that I have received support from the government. I believe that getting one more machinery to add to what I have is going to bring an increase, to be able to employ more and to be able to support the youth that are also getting training.
Beneficiaries would be given a minimum of 20,000 cedis and a maximum of 200,000 Ghana cedis, depending on the activity of the business. And that's it for the business segment, proudly brought to you by MTN and Whirlpool. We have more news coming up. Please do stay.